everyone, and welcome back to Steins Gate. My guess that Moeka worked for CERN was correct, unfortunately. So now we have to go back in time and stop this from ever happening, because Moeka pulled the trigger. Blood spurts from Mayuri's forehead. It splashes across my face, wet and warm. Her delicate, frail body falls towards me. I catch her. Her body is limp, like a puppet with no strings. Her head and arms dangle lifelessly. The smell of gunpowder fills my nose, and then the smell of blood. Daru clutches his head and falls to his knees, screaming at the top of his lungs. The sound jerks me back to my senses. In my arms, Mayuri takes one short, shallow breath, and then...
Mayuri.
She's dead. Mayuri's dead. Her face is covered in blood. Her blood stains my hands. It's warm.
もう一度言う。3人とも一緒に来て。これ以上の警告はしない。抵抗するならあなたたちも殺す。
I hear a voice, but I can't comprehend what it's saying. What is this? What's going on here? Is this a joke? We may have created a monster here. This is a dream, right? Right? I feel nothing. My mind is blank. I shake Mayuri's shoulder. Mayuri? Wake up, Mayuri. You'll catch cold if you sleep here. If you're tired, you can stay overnight. Or I can take you home if you prefer. We'll ride the train back to Ikebukuro together like we used to before Daru joined, when it was just the two of us. Memories of her smile whirl through my head. 1,000 different smiles from 1,000 different locations. If I look away, she'll disappear. She always disappears.
もう大丈夫だね。マユシーが人質じゃなくても。
No, Mayuri. I still need you. Laugh for me. Like you always do. Greet me with your silly tuturu. Tell me it's a lie. Tell me you're alright. Mayuri. Red flames consume my mind. An inferno of rage and hate and rage and hate and the burning desire to kill everything I see. I gently lay the motionless Mayuri on the floor. I stand up. And then I fling myself at Moeka. But before I can take a step, someone grabs my hand from behind. Moeka's gun is aimed at my head. Her finger is already on the trigger.
抵抗するなら
ごめん、お願い。今は従って。このままじゃあんたも殺される。
I tear my hand from Kurisu's grip. My vision is a tunnel with Moeka on the other side. She won't get away with this. She killed Mayuri in cold blood. I'll do the same to her. Moeka pulls the trigger. The sound of the shot smites upon my eardrums. I feel a sharp pain on the side of my head. I nearly lose my balance again. But I'm still alive. What happened? I realize that Moeka's gun is lying at her feet. Beside it is a small stone. Someone must have thrown it and knocked her gun aside. Suzuha to the rescue! Suddenly, Suzuha is there in the doorway, knocking one man down in the blink of an eye. Before anyone can react, she darts into another man's range and delivers a piercing elbow strike to his solar plexus. The man drops to his knees, gasping for air. The remaining men turn their guns on her, but she throws the incapacitated man towards them to block their aim. She then slides into the feet of the man at the rear, tripping him forward, and in a single smooth, flowing motion, drives her knee into the man's face as he falls. The dark-skinned man aims his rifle. But before he can fire, Suzuha snatches a stunned attacker's gun and shoots him. Blood spurts from the man's hand. Without pausing, Suzuha leaps into the air and delivers a soaring roundhouse kick to his jaw. The next thing I know, the 5 men are down, and Moeka's gun is aimed at Suzuha's face. But Suzuha doesn't back down. Her gun is trained on Moeka's neck. It's a standoff. Neither moves. Silence returns to the room. Suzuha's reply makes no sense. She glances at me. What is she saying? Suddenly, Kurisu springs up and makes a break for the development room. I suddenly realize the meaning of Suzuha's words. The 42-inch TV downstairs. It's on. She wants me to use the time leap machine? I look at Mayuri's body. She's lying there quietly. Her eyes are closed. They'll never open again. One of the men Suzuha knocked out down starts to moan. If they wake up, it's all over. Suzuha looks at me again. Her eyes implore me to make my move. If I use the machine, I can avert Mayuri's death. But at the same time, it could fry my brain. Fry my brain? So what? What is there to fear? Mayuri is dead, shot in cold blood. This isn't right. I won't accept it. Then change it. Change the past. You have the power. Use it! I stagger into the development room. Kurisu is about to put on the headgear. I pull it away from her. I grab Kurisu's wrist as she tries to take it back. I stare into her eyes wet with tears. I ignore her and put on the headgear. Moika's last shot grazed the side of my head. My ears are still ringing, and there's blood on my neck. It doesn't matter. I might fail. I might even die. But I have to try. It's my only chance to save Mayuri. Kurisu bites her lip and activates the X6 8000. The crew cut man staggers into the development room. Acting purely on instinct, I grab future gadget number 4, Mode Snake, from the shelf and flick the switch. White smoke instantly fills the room, rendering it impossible to see. Pain flares in my right arm. Was I shot? It doesn't matter. That's why he gets pains in his right arm. That's what the whole demon thing is about. Because he sends his memories back in the past, and that's one of the last impressions his brain got right as he was taking the scan. That makes sense. I see blue-white light shining through the smoke. The discharge is starting. The light rapidly grows brighter. The floor begins to shake. The singularity is open. I crouch down, holding the headset steady with one hand. Wait for me, Mayuri. I won't die here. I'll cross through time to save you. Leap, my memories. Leap to the past. The world explodes into light. Achievement unlocked. Dogma in Event Horizon.
Mayuri.
And this is where I leave you for today. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Steins Gate. We have just used the time leap machine in order to go back into the past and save Mayuri.
Mayuri?
No matter how many times I call her name, Mayuri doesn't answer. Mayuri is standing in front of a grave, gazing at the sky. The grave belongs to her grandmother, who died when Mayuri was 11 years old. Her parents were always busy with work, so her grandmother was her only companion. I was close to Mayuri's family, so her death was sad for me too. At the wake, I expected Mayuri to break down and cry. She didn't. Instead, she spent the whole time gazing vacantly at her grandmother's memorial portrait. 6 months went by. I had advanced to middle school, so Mayuri and I no longer communed together. But whenever I passed the cemetery on the way home, Mayuri would always be standing there. Every day, rain or shine, she would stand for hours before the grave, staring wordlessly at the sky, as if she could see her grandmother in heaven. In her hands, an old pocket watch. The watch had belonged to her grandmother. Mayuri always held it when visiting the grave.
Mayuri?
No matter how many times I called her name, Mayuri did not answer. Back then, Mayuri wouldn't talk to anyone. Not to me, not even to her parents. Whenever I saw her standing there, staring at the sky, I felt unease grip my heart. Her gaze was so earnest, her intentions so pure, that I feared some power might grant her wish and carry her off to heaven to join her beloved grandmother. And so, to ensure that nothing like that ever happened, I made sure to stop by the cemetery every day. I would stand next to the sky-gazing Mayuri and call her name.
Mayuri?
But no matter how many times I'd call her, Mayuri wouldn't reply. The only sound in the lonely cemetery was the echo of my voice, calling her name. It was raining that day too. Mayuri had a light blue umbrella. In contrast to the umbrella's color, the sky was glazed gray, covered in clouds. After a while, the rain stopped. Rays of light shone through the gaps in the clouds, a stunningly beautiful sight. Rembrandt's rays, they are called, or sometimes the angel's ladder. Suddenly, a strong wind swept through the cemetery. It caught Mayuri's umbrella and carried it into the sky. Mayuri seemed not to notice. She kept staring at the sky, and then, slowly, so very slowly, she stretched her hand out to the sky, as if to grasp the rays of light, as if her grandmother were reaching down to pull her up. And then she lifted herself on her toes. To me, it looked as if she were floating up towards heaven. Impulsively, I grabbed Mayuri's outstretched hand and pulled her into my embrace. In retrospect, my fears were just a childish fantasy, but at the time, I truly believed that Mayuri might vanish.
どこにも行かせないぞ。連れてなんて行かせない。
I realized how embarrassing the words coming up from my mouth were.
Mayuriは俺の人質だ。人体実験の生贄なんだ。
It was the first excuse that came to mind. Before her grandmother died, Mayuri and I were fans of a popular TV series about costumed heroes battling evil. I particularly admired the villain, a mad scientist. I even got pretty good at mimicking his lines. Now I was doing it to hide my embarrassment. I could feel my face growing red, but I kept up with the mad scientist act all the same. If nothing else, it was better than admitting my insecurities.
どこにも逃がさないからな。
As I said this, I realized that Mayuri was shaking. She whispered. It was the first time in 6 months that I heard her speak. Her voice was choked with tears.
マユシーは人質なんだね。じゃあしょうがないね。
She smiled happily. Tears fell from her eyes. And then Mayuri buried her face in my chest. Where am I? Who am I? I can't see. I can barely think. A terrible screech fills my head, like feedback from a giant speaker. It penetrates my brain like 100 sharp needles stabbing me right behind the eyes. I thought brains weren't supposed to feel pain. And there's more. I feel a shiver of pleasure beneath the pain, and a terrible itching, like my body is on fire. I want to crack open my skull and tear out my brain. I want to scrape out my soft gray matter with my fingers and eat it. What the fuck? The assault on my brain is driving me crazy. Who am I? Suddenly, the shattered pieces of the world reform. I slowly come back to my senses. I'm in the lab, standing in front of the phone wave, name subject to change, with my cell phone to my ear. No, not the phone wave, name subject to change. Since headgear is attached to it, it's the time leap machine. It's hard to breathe. Give me oxygen. I hear a low, wheezing groan and realize that it's coming from my own throat. I close my mouth, then take a deep breath. The insides of my throat feel like they're burning. I resist the urge to cough and continue filling my lungs with air. I notice that I'm drenched in sweat. The drops sliding down my forehead are annoying. I try to wipe them away with the back of my right hand. My hand obeys, slowly. Something is off. It's like my body and my mind aren't totally in sync with each other. Almost as if this isn't really my body. As if my nerves aren't communicating properly with my extremities. I try blinking slowly. This might just be my imagination. Could this be exhaustion? I haven't slept much lately. I try to move my hand again. There's no disconnect this time. This is my body. A familiar voice. I turn around slowly. Kurisu is there. She stares at me, perplexed. What is she talking about? I try answering, but my voice doesn't work too well. Even more bewildered, I clear my throat several times.
問題ない。
そうだったらさっさと出かける準備しなさいよ。買い出し行くんでしょ。
買い出し
For what? I search my memories. The moment I do, images appear in my mind like a string of exploding light bulbs.
人間は根源的に時間的存在者である。
もう大丈夫だね。
タイムリープしてもいいの？
I remember now. I used the time leap machine.
未来の記憶を思い出すのよ。
That's right. What am I standing around for?
ここはどこだ？
は？
I grab Kurisu's shoulders and pull her close.
今は何時だ？何月何日の何時何分だ？
痛い。落ち着け。
落ち着いていられるか？買い出しって言ったろ。
Which shopping trip is she talking about? Daru is sitting at his computer, staring at us wide-eyed.
ダル、今日は何日だ？今は何時なんだ？
13日の5時ちょっと過ぎだけど。
The 13th, a little past 5.
成功。
Did I manage to time leap? In the middle of all that chaos? Did my memories really jump through time? Does that mean I've leapt into my past self? Is there a chance that it was all a dream? Thinking back, forward, it doesn't seem real. Commandos breaking into the lab? It's like something out of a Hollywood movie. But the sight of Mayuri, broken and bloody, is burned into my eyes. I remember the smell of blood. The sound of the gunshot. The weight of the headgear on my head. The pain of the bullet tearing through my arm. Kurisu screaming. Suzuha fighting to defend us. I remember it all vividly. I touched my arm. No bullet holes. No pain even. Was it all a dream? I don't know. I've never time-leapt before. I can only hope that it was a dream. A future like that is too much to bear. I recall Mayuri's last moments and my eyes fill with tears. I force the tide of emotion back. I look around the lab. Kurisu and Daru are here, but I can't find Mayuri.
マユリはどこに？
どこってルカシのところに行くってさっき言ってたじゃんか。オカリン聞いてなかったん？
That's right. Mayuri went to beg Lukaku to wear her costume. She won't return until it's time for the party. What do I do? What do I believe? Was it a dream? Or was it real? If it was a dream, then I don't have to worry about anything. If it was real, then I need to act. Now. I take a deep breath.
あれは夢だったんだ。
Okabe!
あんなの現実に起きるはずがない。
It was a nightmare brought on by anxiety. That's all. There's no other logical explanation. I desperately persuade myself that it's so. Little do I know that I will soon regret my foolishness. Okabe!